Well, hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to this evening's Thankful for Missouri Streams event. We're glad to have you here. We're going to be recognizing some people that have been doing some great things for rivers and streams here in the state of Missouri, and also just celebrating our wonderful water resources that we have in this state, from the big rivers to the little streams to our countless beautiful springs and our wonderful cave ecosystems. As we join tonight, I'd invite you to type into the chat box where you're calling in from or viewing this from. If you're a stream team, go ahead and put your stream team name, your stream team number. And this is obviously the month of Thanksgiving. We have two raffles that I'll mention. We just kicked these off this week. We have our River Pearl raffle that's going on until November 30th, and also our 50/50 and more raffle. So the raffle sales will be open through November 30th, and those go to support the general operations of Stream Teams United and the Missouri Stream Team Watershed Coalition. I will say, introduce myself. If you don't know me, my name is Mary Culler, and I serve as the director of Stream Teams United. We are the Missouri Stream Team Watershed Coalition. We also have opportunities to donate. If you'd like to donate during this event or anytime before the end of the calendar year, we really do appreciate those donations. There's different opportunities. You can actually text to donate. You can text the word river to 573-410-3658, or go online to streamteamsunited.org. And also, we are a coalition of 22 stream team associations throughout the state of Missouri, and we have donation links for all of those stream team associations that are each working in their own part of Missouri. So I'd invite you to check out that and see who's working in your local area, and consider a year-end donation to one of those local stream team associations. Okay, well, as people are joining, we're seeing that they are putting in the chat box where they're coming from. It's good to see you all here tonight. So as we kick off tonight's event, the first thing we are going to share is a new video that the Missouri Humanities Council just developed, highlighting our Paddle Mo 2021 journey. And so we will get that pulled up. And I would ask all the panelists, if you're not the one sharing or speaking, we're going to go ahead and turn off our videos and mute ourselves.
Sleep well? All right, as soon as I get in my boat and drop my rudder, we'll take off. Paddle Mo is a 5-day journey down the last 100 miles of the Missouri River, and it's a program that our organization started in partnership with Magnificent Missouri in 2016. It's an educational experience that breaks down the barriers to allow people to connect with the river and experience a multi-day river journey in this last 100 miles of the Missouri River, which is our nation's longest waterway. Each year we try to have one main theme, but within that we have presentations about history, presentations about biology, ecology, the historic towns. The Missouri River has been such an important part of this nation's history. Before it was founded, people were very connected long ago to the river. It was one of the main forms of transportation. They used it as a source of food. But as the years have gone by, a lot of people, we've become disconnected from our rivers. And so this is a way to kind of bring people back to the river that we once used to really depend upon for transportation and other things. Right. Do you guys know which campsite you guys are staying at?
We're at a cabin.
At a cabin? Oh, well, okay. You guys are super easy.
So Paddle Mo approached us from the beginning, brought us on as educators in all aspects. They have to have someone that can have training and education to take 100 people down a river like the Missouri River. They had about 40 people in their crew, and Lewis and Clark came up the river, and they just drugged the boat up the river. And they made about average like 10, 12 miles a day. So that's why we're passing 3 stopping points today. Our personal mission with Earth's Classroom is to bring awareness, understanding, appreciation of cultural history and natural history. We can't ignore the human impact on our ecosystems today. They are amazingly intertwined. When Lewis and Clark came up this river, this was not that river, not even close. Today, it's a channelized, managed for navigation for large barges. So, I mean, the impact we've had here is just significant.
Okay, I got your number, didn't I? Yes. Okay, and I got your 02 number.
39, 36, and 39.
The Missouri River has an intimidation for a lot of human beings these days. You look at it from afar, from up on a bridge, up high, you feel that it's swirling, it can swallow you up, and it's something to fear. And when you get on it, it feels very different from that, especially when you start to understand why it's doing what it's doing. For example, the whole floor of the river is nothing but moving sand dunes, and the collapsing of those sand dunes create those boils that people have felt for years are going to be whirlpools that pull you under. But it actually feels like a giant floating, moving lake when you're finally on it.
Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. Don't let them pick guitars, drive them old trucks. Make them be doctors and lawyers and such.
People get a sense of community when they're on the river with other people, and even though the Missouri River has been changed so dynamically since the 1940s, it still has this wild feeling about it and a very power to it because it's such a huge mass of fresh water flowing underneath us.
I participated in 2019 and 2020, doing 100 miles for over the 5 days. It was my first time tent camping, my first time on a river kayaking. It was a big adventure, and that's what I really wanted in my life. I really enjoyed being a participant. I really liked the staff and the other volunteers. Earth's Classroom, Jody and Bill, they do a great job with education. They keep it very interesting. They're full of what I'd call fun facts. If you want to know something about this bug or this tree, they will tell you about it.
And then we also have a western group of monarchs that overwinter along the...
To tell you the truth, I watched 2 YouTube videos on the way up here, trying to think of, is this going to be okay? But the people were so accommodative, and no matter what the issue was, they were helpful. They'd do anything they could to make the experience positive for you. We've even talked about now, we thought about, well, maybe we could make a longer trip or do the whole, we're just signed up for 3 days. And well, maybe we could do the 5-day.
Most of our participants have never been on the Missouri River before, so it really opens up a whole new opportunity for them to get out in nature. And one of the neat things about the Missouri River is it's so wide, you know, and so as you go into St. Louis, you're going into a very urban area. But if you're out in the middle of the Missouri River Channel, you can find a sense of solitude, almost a sense of wilderness and a sense of peace. We hope our paddlers learn about the region, learn about the ecology, but also find maybe this is another way that in the future they can connect with one of our great rivers here in the state.
Great, thank you. So yes, we would like to thank the Missouri Humanities Outdoors brand new program for coming along with us on Paddle Mo this year and helping us by funding some of the presenters for our trip. And that's just such an awesome trip. We've done it for 6 years, since 2016, and we've hosted paddlers from 17 states. And it's been fun to just meet more people and build the community of river stewards through that program. So speaking of paddlers, we have one of our paddlers that I think is the only paddler that's been on all 6 trips since 2016. And it's Robert Boone. And Robert was inspired to write a poem after coming on the 2021 trip. So we're going to share that poem and Bob's going to read it for us.
Well, okay, so I wrote this sort of in my head driving back from Paddle Mo this year. I didn't stop and write stuff down because my Jeep was about to blow up, and it did by that Thursday. So it either took like a week to write this, or it took 6 years of me going back to the river because I guess I'm just slow. But it's titled In Earth's Classroom, which is, of course, Jody and Bill's thing. They have been just the heart of helping this be an actual education and not just paddling on the river, which is good, cool by itself. So anyway, I've titled this In Earth's Classroom, and I'll read you this thing, and you can snap your fingers to whatever you choose to do. Okay, better put my glasses on here though. All right. In Earth's Classroom. I came to learn the language of the river. The river speaks with sun glint, whirlpool and eddy, with sand dunes roaming unseen, playful, submerged, boils rising sudden midstream, with sandbar and driftwood, with cottonwood and willow, granite spheres tumble for 1,000 years, strange current and delight. The river speaks, so does my dog. The river speaks through blooming teal and turkey vulture, through gull and goose, blue cat, channel cat, blue sucker, drum, alligator gar voyaging north, pallid sturgeon drifting south, through peregrine falcon, pigeon, swallow and swift, double-crested cormorant, white egret, kite, through cloudless sulfur butterfly, monarch, wingbeat of bald eagle, the glide of great blue heron. The river speaks in moods of moonlight, storm, and silence.
Thank you, Bob. We really appreciate you sharing that with us, and glad that you've been able to join each year since 2016.
Yep, it's worth being there.
Okay, well, our next poet is Joe Shaper, and as Joe pulls up her camera, I will provide an introduction for Joe. Joe Shaper has always lived where the rivers flow. Born 2 miles from the Mississippi, until she was 6 years old, she could hear towboats at night, and when the wind was right, the SS Admiral Calliope. The rest of her life has been in the Merrimack Valley, except for excursions for schooling to the James River at Springfield and the Missouri at Columbia. She has degrees in writing and geology and has spent her life as a printer, caver, freelance, and staff writer. She is currently secretary for the Merrimack River Recreation Association, is half of Paw Paw Poets Publishing, LP, and runs her own business, Geo Communications Services. Okay, and so I'm gonna let Joe say more and introduce the Merrimack River Song, which is what we're gonna share first. But Joe, welcome, and if you could tell us about the Merrimack River Recreation Association and give us an introduction to the Merrimack River Song.
Well, the Merrimack River Recreation Association is a government / NGO / citizen organization, which basically the reason for its being is it covers the Merrimack River from Sullivan to Flam City, the lower part of the Merrimack. It was established in 1975 by Governor Christopher Bond, wondering what would happen if the Merrimack Dam went in, and if the Merrimack Dam didn't go in, what would happen to the lower Merrimack? This organization has been working with many partnerships since, and it's really an organization of communication along the lower river, where the governments and people like the Nature Conservancy and Open Space Council and just plain old citizens, which is where I'm from, talk about how the river is to be managed and as a unit, as a watershed. The video that Mary and I decided we were going to do was actually a song from Steve Nagel, who is my Paw Paw publishing partner. He's from St. Joseph, currently living in California, retired. When I brought him to St. Louis, he was the director of community planning, and he became involved in river issues. He's also a singer, a musician, and a songwriter. And he wrote this song about 10 years ago about the Merrimack River, and in conjunction with some things the Open Space Council was doing at the time to let people become more aware of that watershed. I decided we weren't gonna let this song, vanish into a CD when no one ever heard of it again, so I turned it into a music video.
Great, thanks, Joe. And we're gonna get that pulled up.
From the fountains of the Ozarks to the Mississippi shore, old Merrimack River runs free forevermore. Let the river flow, let it flow. Hallelujah, let the river flow. From the mountains of the Ozarks to the Mississippi shore, the people of the river live in legend and in lore. Let the river flow, let it flow, let it flow. Hallelujah, let the river flow. The river has many voices, weak and some are strong. If you listen with your heart, you'll hear the river song. Let the river flow, oh, let it flow. River flow, oh play. Have you found the pearly mussels along the gravel bars, or spied a rusty levee that once was trucks and cars? Have you paddled your canoe in rain and sun and snow, or gazed upon the river in the valley far below? Let the river flow, oh, let it flow. Hallelujah, let the river flow. Does your spirit take wing at the first sign of spring? Do you feel redeemed when the little bluebird sings? Have you seen a great blue heron sailing across the trees, or caught a hellbender and felt that summer breeze? Let the river flow, oh, let it flow. Hallelujah, let the river flow. The river rocks and the river rolls. The river sings and the river flows. The river gives and the river knows. The river lives, let it save your soul. Let the river flow, let it flow. Let it flow, let it flow. Let it flow. Let the river flow.
And I didn't know that I really like Bob's poem. If Bob wants to get a hold of me, probably through Mary, we can put that in our next book. Steve and I are putting together a book called River Songs and Wayfaring Sagas. And Mary asked me if I could read some of my selections that are going to go in here, and she will have a poem in there too. So the first one is called The Downfall of the River King. Maramagua, Miramagua, Merrimack. The ugly fish glides, whispers twitching. In the murky depths, the bottom feeders clean the stone-filled floor. Beneath the roots, the tangled mass where noodlers feel for the sandpapery skin. The torpedo shape, the great fish glides, invisibly slate blue gray. His ceiling stirred by the dip of paddles, rotating like a tornadic force. Dig deep, stir the water, not deep enough to reach green depths where the catfish lurks, waiting for dough bait, for stinky cheese and chicken liver offerings to fall, for smelly temptation to overcome sense and persistent anglers to hook him after all. Second one. I don't have these memorized, so I am using cheat sheets. It's called Meeting on the Water. I would meet with you at midnight in the indigo shadows where the bullfrogs call. I would watch you part the river fog, stir the shredded moon on the water, where the only breeze moving is your song. We would sit on the radiant sun-warmed rocks, watch the stars ripple southward on dark water, hear the splash of something in the distance, watch the black owl silhouette blot out the sky. I would stay there until the sun goes gray, until orange suffuses upward in the east, until day birds awake, jingling the night begone. I would tell everyone I spent the night alone. You need not say anything. And the third one, if you see the background behind my face here, that is the Missouri Point. And I have a personal connection to the Missouri Point. The part of the land on the Missouri side that was is now the Riverlands demonstration area was actually in my family for about 100 years, and they sold it to the Army Corps of Engineers. So this is called Missouri Point. 2 years we grew corn there, and the next year we grew catfish. No corn grows on the Missouri Point. Farmland's gone to wetland, too thin to walk on, too wet to plow. It's the catfish year all the time now. On Red Schoolhouse Road, John's place used to yield 150 bushels, 2/3 of the time with no fertilizer. Levee fields now tangle willow, sycamore, and scrub. No one goes there. What wasn't taken in '93 produces spring rabbits and eagles in the winter. The house, rose cleaned year after year, stands hollow-eyed, stepless and empty. The porch gone by collision with a chicken coop. Developers lust for that flat acreage beyond the trestle, over by the slough. Just can't wait to site an industrial park under 20 feet of water. Each spring, the people of West Alton prayed that their town be spared, or if that not be his will, that he first send the gentle Mississippi and then send the Missouri straight to hell. Thank you very much for listening. Appreciate the opportunity to share some of the work that I've done with other river enthusiasts.
Thank you, Joe. So I met Joe and Steve at a Big Muddy Speaker Series event back in 2018, and Steve sang that song, and I learned that they were working on a book called the Paw Paw Almanac, and Joe emailed me asking for the Stream Teens United logo because they were working on featuring different nonprofits in their book, and so I sent her the logo. But then I also said, well, I actually wrote some poetry back in college, but I've never really done anything with it. And so I sent her a couple of my poems, and they were so kind. They actually featured some of my poetry in their Paw Paw Almanac book that came out just a couple years ago. So I'm going to share one of my poems that is in their book, the Paw Paw Almanac. And so this is a poem that I wrote way back in 2007 after I spent an evening at the Eagle Bluffs Conservation Area near McBain, Missouri, near the Champion Great Bur Oak Tree, if you're familiar with that area down the Missouri River. So the title of this poem is Down Bur Oak Road. So listen, take the river road on a sunny day, 'cause that's where the wild things come out to play, where muddy flats stretch out and corn husks sway. Trust me, take the river road today. Take time to park and watch the teals glide in, or spot the eagle perched atop the bluff. And when you think you've seen enough, wait till dusk, because that's when the wild things come out to play. When the sun paints the river red, out from the rushes and the reeds spring throngs of tiny peeping frogs that hop across the gravel road. And glancing up the marsh a mile, you guess there must be thousands of these little beings, which makes you smile. You are not alone. And then there comes a drone, a jet boat flying up the river run, nighttime seekers of big muddy fun, their radio crackling out a good country song. Then passing by the great bur oak, you pause to say a little thanks for just being able to feel the cool breeze on your face. So trust me, let your heart go wild and take the river road today. So thank you, Joe and Steve, for helping spread river poetry throughout the state of Missouri. And we're really happy that you could join us tonight to share that with us. Okay, so we're going to move into some highlights of 2021. And one of the things that's been a real highlight of 2020 and 2021 is the AmeriCorps Vista project that Stream Teams United has been hosting around the state, where we've been able to place AmeriCorps members at different Stream Team locations. And so Ashley Packwood, Ashley, if you're there, if it's convenient to turn on your camera and give a wave, Ashley is our AmeriCorps Vista supervisor out of the Ozark area. And so she put this next video together.
Stream Teams United has been a part of the AmeriCorps program since 2019. Through this program, Stream Teams United works to place AmeriCorps members with one of our Missouri Stream Team associations. There, members will assist these organizations with fundraising, capacity building, and education outreach to underserved and low-income individuals, groups, and schools within their community. In the almost 2 years Stream Teams United has been doing the AmeriCorps program, we have placed 10 members to serve within 6 different associations. We are currently working to add members in 2 new locations as well.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm serving at the Watershed Committee of the Ozarks. I started my service in April, and I'm working with the Watershed Committee of the Ozarks because they do a lot of great environmental work, and they reach out to our communities and our school kids and just teach them about water conservation and watershed management. I joined AmeriCorps and this organization because, I love helping communities and sharing, why it's so important to do environmental stewardship. And I really hope to help develop the volunteer programs here so we can teach more people about why it's so important to protect our watersheds.
Hi, my name is Brianna, and I'm an AmeriCorps member with the Stream Teams United Vista program at the St. Louis Community Foundation. During my service here, I'll be assisting with grant writing and program development for water education programs that serve Title I businesses in the community. I chose this AmeriCorps position to gain experiences in nonprofit work, STEM education, and sustainability.
I came to AmeriCorps because I was doing an internship the summer before with the James River Basin Partnership, and they actually approached me with the opportunity. I had no idea what it was, and after looking into it, I learned there were so many benefits and so many positive things that came from it, and I really didn't know what I was going to do next, so I decided to take it. And here I am, a little over a year later, and I am now employed by Stream Teams United, and I am so grateful for my opportunity to serve through my Vista membership.
Great. Thank you, Ashley, for putting that together. So we are still recruiting for AmeriCorps positions around the state. We currently have openings in Springfield, Howardville, Kansas City, most likely, and other sites. As we as members exit their service, we will have openings continuously over the next year. So if you know anyone that's looking to volunteer, it's really a great opportunity. Okay, our next highlight of 2021, we're going to welcome Jennifer Wendt. And I met Jennifer just about a year ago, and it's been awesome in that last 12 months or so to see Jennifer's rock star leadership, I would say, in St. Louis with the Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative. And I've enjoyed being on a lot of different calls with her, and just really awesome to watch her leadership. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her share with you what that is about. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. I am so proud to be part of this group. You know, I somehow on my path worked into meeting you all through, of course, Brian Waldrop, who is way more of a rock star than anyone I know. But it's been great. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to share my screen and go through my little presentation. And I apologize if anybody's already heard all this, but you get to hear it again because that's the way it is, I guess, here. Okay, let's see. Let me get. So I am talking about the Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative. This is an initiative to reduce plastics along the Mississippi River, because if you look at the image there, that image at the top of the hourglass shows the watershed of the Mississippi River, and you can see that it stretches all the way to from Montana to West Virginia, up and down the whole east and west part of the country. It drains 31 states, and I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when a plastic bottle is laying on the ground in Montana, it could easily make its way through a storm drain to a tributary and to the Mississippi River, to the Gulf, and of course out to the ocean. And so as we hear a lot about plastics in the ocean, I don't think people here in the Midwest or anywhere along the Mississippi River corridor realize what a big role that plays, besides what it does to our communities along the river sheds themselves. So to back up a little bit, I am Jennifer Wendt. I work for the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative. Mississippi Rivers and Towns Initiative is, or MRCTI, is an association of mayors. There are 101 mayors of cities along the Mississippi River. There are 5 pillars are shown on the left: clean water, sustainable economies, disaster resilience and adaptation, international food and water security, and a celebration of river culture, history, and heritage. And so this particular initiative falls under the clean water pillar. So in 2018, the mayors along the Mississippi entered the Clean Seas Act, and that is the Clean Seas program with the United Nations. And that was the first river system to join this program. A lot of different communities had done it through the coasts and islands and anywhere that touches the ocean. This was the first middle of the country organization that joined this initiative to try to clean up our river. So MRCTI is working with the United Nations Environment Program, and we started trying to figure out how we could do this. It's a major undertaking, of course, reducing plastic waste. And so we joined forces with the University of Georgia, and they had an app. It's called the Marine Debris Tracker. And so the Marine Debris Tracker app is a citizen science-based app to collect data of what litter is found in the environment. So we talked to cities along the Mississippi and selected 3 with commitments from those cities: St. Paul, Minnesota, representing the upper Mississippi, St. Louis, Missouri for the middle, and Baton Rouge for the lower portion. And so what we did is we found partner organizations within these communities. And it was one of those things where I really thought we would get 3 partner organizations from each city. That was our commitment. And we ended up with 100 partner organizations throughout the 3 cities. And I have to say, Stream Teams here in St. Louis was by far the most powerful and the biggest champion of the whole initiative. So we got folks, regular community members to download this app and walk around and collect data on what litter they're finding in the environment. So we did this from really the month of April of 2021, April 1st through April 25th, but we did back up the data to March 15th because that was really when people started getting out. And during that time, during those 3 weeks, citizens collected over 75,000 items of litter. And you can see on the map where all of those are. 94% of them were logged within 50 kilometers of the Mississippi River. There's some interesting ones out in Cincinnati, you can see, and I'm not sure is that Tulsa, but it was very interesting. And these were all specific to the Mississippi River project. And so that's how many people were interested in collecting data to find out more about what we're finding in our environment. So with that, we found here in St. Louis, 28,000 of those data points were collected. And I'm gonna just mention Brian one more time. I know a lot of those were collected by Brian and his folks because of his commitment to this initiative. I mean, as you can see, the top items here in St. Louis were the cigarette butt, beverage bottles, foam fragments, food wrappers, and plastic waste. Those were the top five, I'm sorry, plastic bags. Those were the top 5 items found in our community here in St. Louis. And this is very similar to Baton Rouge, although beverage bottles came before cigarette butts there. And then in St. Paul, it was a little bit different. Cigarette butts was definitely the first, followed by foam fragments and hard plastic fragments. And I think that a lot of that was due to, it was really just the very beginning of spring. People hadn't really been out yet. And what was left on the ground besides cigarette butts were just fragments from what was left earlier the previous year or late the previous year. One more part of our initiative was the bottle tag. This was a really exciting part. This was 100% experimental here for the first time ever on a river system. We took this bottle with the GPS tag and dropped it in St. Louis, and that bottle made its way to Baton Rouge, ended up on the banks. A fisherman found it, called the phone number on the bottle, and we were able to get it back in the water. So we do know that that plastic bottle traveled from St. Louis to Baton Rouge. And then now, I'm not sure where it is, but if it's made its way through Lake Pontchartrain or through the Gulf, through the Mississippi River, we're not sure. We're still keeping tabs on that. But an interesting thing is we put this bottle in St. Louis. We also put one in St. Paul. We just recently put one in the Quad Cities. And we have found that a lot of times it gets caught on barges and it gets caught on dams. So those are some areas that we may want to think about how we can capture those materials that are caught on those structures. So what we're going to do now that we have that data? Well, first of all, we are just finishing up our next cities, Quad Cities. So there's 5 of them: Davenport, Bettendorf, Rock Island, Moline, East Moline. We've been collecting data there. We're wrapping up that data analysis now and should have it by the end of November, a report on that. So while we're working on those cities, we've also been, let's see, we applied for a couple federal EPA grants and we were selected for those grants in St. Louis and Baton Rouge. We haven't been awarded yet, so I'm not going to say that we've got the money to really move forward just yet. And that will be really focused on reduction, prevention, and capture in that order. So we really want to try to focus on reduction first and foremost, because obviously we don't want to continue having to do cleanups forever, even though you guys will always have to do that because we know how we are. And so those will really focus on those things. And then we've also been reaching out to some manufacturers, trying to figure out how we can work together on some of these top items and get some of those materials, particularly PET, the plastic beverage bottle, that they have a lot of initiatives to get more recycled content in those bottles. We know where we've found plastic bottles along the river and in the cities and how we can work together to get those materials to them and recovered and back into bottles so that we can use less plastics to begin with. And that will wrap it up. Just a little brief moment, and I will take any questions. This is the Mississippi River Plastic Pollution Initiative. You can find it through unep.org in Mississippi or mrcti.org. It is a great initiative. I've done a lot of initiatives through the years, and this has to be my favorite initiative we've had, but it could not have been done without Stream Teams, MDC, Chris, Brian, of course, Sarah, Mary. You all have been really great, and it's been a fantastic experience, and I can't wait to work with you all more. And that will be it, unless somebody has questions.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. And yes, if you have a question, type it into the Q&A or to the chat box. I'd like to see if Brian Waldrop could turn on his camera and unmute, because we definitely want to recognize Brian as well. The word rock star definitely defines Brian in many things. He helps us with Stream Teams United, with Stream Teams in the St. Louis region, and then with this new effort that really shined a light on this issue here in St. Louis. And I'm going to share my screen briefly. Brian was just awarded a High Five Partner Award from the Missouri Department of Conservation. And so we just want to congratulate Brian with that. And I'm going to read a little part from the award letter for that award. It says, the Stream Team program partnered in this pilot project, which included the cities of St. Paul, St. Louis, and Baton Rouge in March and April. Brian's passion and can-do attitude allowed him to do a bulk of the organizing sites, supplies, and use of the debris tracker for the plastic reduction initiative for the St. Louis effort. In large part to his effort, Stream Teams in St. Louis played a vital role in this data collection and trash removal project by testing a newly developed debris tracker app at over 70 target areas, surveying over 40,000 square meters, and logged over 28,000 litter items across nearly 75 targeted areas in St. Louis. So congratulations, Brian. And as always, we are so thankful to you and all you do. It's really amazing.
Thank you so much. I was just out there having fun.
So another thing I'm going to share is Stream Teams United. We, this last year, just worked to develop a new logo to help promote Missouri as the Great River State. That's one of the things we do, because we have, you know, the muddy Missouri and the mighty Mississippi as part of our border, and really important streams and rivers in this state. And so I have something to share with both Jennifer and Brian. If you can see, in our effort to reduce plastic pollution, I have an engraved, I don't know if this is going to show up correctly, but we have some steel water bottles engraved with your name. So there's one for Jennifer and one for Brian as well. So we have the new Great River State logo and your name engraved as River Champions, if you can read that. So I'll be in St. Louis over Thanksgiving. I'll try to find you and deliver those.
That is excellent.
Awesome, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. I love it.
Oh, Mary, doggone it. Jennifer, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to so many more muddy cleanups with you, just like last December. We've only just started this this initiative here in the St. Louis area, and let's make a big impact on reducing plastic in our waterways.
Absolutely. And, you know, I didn't mention that we've been working with the WashU Sustainability Exchange Program. They have a class that is working. They want to work on this with us. And I immediately brought Brian in, like, okay, what's the best area for them to focus, that they can get around, that we can get these kids, well, students out and about. And it's just been a really great collaboration. I couldn't have done it with you without you all, that's for sure. We couldn't have. This is just the beginning.
Can you explain just for 30 seconds what WashU is actually doing in the St. Louis area and how they're combating plastic pollution?
Yeah, so they, we worked with them to pick an area, a neighborhood in St. Louis City to really do a concentrated effort on data collection, doing some surveying of the residences, the businesses. We got data from MSD to find out where their inlets are. and then find out, what type of products the businesses are using, what type of programs they have for litter control, and they actually have a really great one. And so they're working with them to find out what's being found most in the environment. It's a great place for students to get involved because there's college students in at Soulard. And so we're going to get a really great report by the end of this, and hopefully with some ideas that can be implemented in other neighborhoods. And then also really to find out how we can work with those restaurants to reduce some of those single-use plastics and get some more sustainable packaging in there, and the farmers market. I'm excited. This has been fantastic.
One thing I've learned from this, what Washington University is doing is how the Soulard community was able to use the homeless to come in and clean up Sunday night through Thursday to get ready for the new trash Friday through Sunday. So I know that, homeless is an issue, and hopefully other cities can adopt that way of, and it's just not them go out there picking up the trash, is they're getting repaid, or they're getting paid to do this. So it's a win-win for everybody in that community.
It really is. It's really a great system. I mean, they're working with a church that has a food pantry and getting some of the folks and paying them $20 an hour to go on Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings. Of course, we really want to focus on how to reduce the amount that ends up on the ground, but you all know, no matter what, it's going to happen. And Dana, I think it can be. I'm assuming you're talking about the Soulard model, and that's what we're hoping that the WashU students can put together, is kind of a model of how this can work for other communities, not just like Soulard, because Soulard has a really big mix of residential and commercial, a lot of bars and restaurants. And so it's a little bit different than a lot of other areas, but to at least have that model that can be molded into other communities, I think is fantastic.
Great. Well, thank you both so much. And the exciting part about all of this is this was just a pilot year. So, more to come for sure. Very great. Well, so another person that definitely played a part in this initiative, because he was the stream team coordinator for St. Louis, is Chris Riggert. And we want to take some moments to recognize Chris. Chris has worked for the stream team program for many years and recently received a promotion. And so we actually put together a little video for Chris. And so Chris, if you want to turn on your camera, but we'll go ahead and get this video pulled up. Hello, Chris. We know you don't like being the center of attention, Chris, but with your passion and dedication, we just want to take a few minutes to do that.
Chris Riggert began working with the Stream Team program in 1999 as the volunteer water quality monitoring assistant. At that time, Chris's aquatic expertise was a perfect fit, and his ease and ability to work with and relate to volunteers was evident. His passion for water quality, patience with volunteers, and attention to detail helped him to find his niche within the program. In 2002, Chris got the permanent position of streams biologist, where he continued to assist the VWQM program and work with volunteers on a variety of other stream team activities. Chris always had the ability to see the full spectrum of interest of our membership and worked diligently to provide them the resources they needed to accomplish the task at hand. In 2007, Chris became the VWQM coordinator, overseeing MDC's portion of VWQM. During this period, Chris helped to grow and adjust the training offered for volunteers and worked to find ways to keep trained volunteers engaged in monitoring. He was willing to make changes and shifts to adjust to the input we received from volunteers and what he took note of firsthand during trainings and mentoring sessions. In 2017, Chris moved to the Stream Team coordinator position, where he took over supervision of the other Stream Team and VWQM staff. Chris oversaw the budget and helped to continue a strategic vision for the program. During the last few years, Chris's dedication to St. Louis volunteers shined as he provided the coordination for that region of the state.
Chris is one of the longest tenured Stream Team staff of the program's history, and his knowledge of the program and dedication to its mission has been so appreciated.
Hey, Chris,
Wow.
you have anything to say?
Maybe. First of all, I want to thank everybody that's here. I've had some wonderful people to work with and work for, and the highlight has always been working with the volunteers. And sometimes you question maybe if you're making a difference, and it's it has been made very apparent to me by other people that little things that I didn't think really made that much difference made a big difference. This is the best program, and thank you for making the last 20+ years incredibly rewarding. So with that, I'm an ugly crier, so I will shut up.
Fine, Chris. And I will say, I've known Chris, I want to say since at least 2008 when I was a fisheries biologist with the conservation department. So I just want to say, Chris, I always appreciated your professionalism, and definitely now in my role here the last 3.5 years or so, your help. But you are definitely a leader, have been a wonderful leader for the Stream Team program. And we have a little gift for you from the Missouri Great River State. Also, Chris Riggert, forever and ever a river champion. So many thanks to you, Chris.
I can't thank you guys enough.
Chris, you're freaking awesome. I just want to let you know that. You know that. You mean the world to me.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chris. And so I'm going to share a few slides as we close out, but don't go away, because when I'm done, we do have one more special guest that we're going to bring on that I know would like to say hi to you, Chris, if we can get this person to join from where they're at. So I will go ahead and share my screen real quick with just a few more highlights and people that we want to recognize and thank. And so one of our projects that we've been working on this year is in the Mark Twain Lake area, and we are excited to announce that we have formed a brand new Stream Team Association here in Northeast Missouri, the Salt River Stream Team Association. And so this is new Stream Team Association for the Salt River watershed, which is shown here, Northeast Missouri. It's basically the drainage area to Mark Twain Lake, and the Salt River flows to the Mississippi River. And so we're excited to bring together some stream teams in this area to try to do more education and stewardship in this area. As part of this project, we also have some interpretive educational signs that are going out to different places throughout the communities. This is an example of a sign that we're going to be putting up in Kirksville near the school there. And so we've developed these sign templates. And one of the things that I've seen working in my career is just the idea of we need watershed signs. We need watershed signs. And so we've got a really good template put together. So if you're anywhere around the state and have a place you'd like to put a sign, let me know, and we could probably easily adapt this template for your area. Okay, next, I would like to thank all of our officers with Stream Teams United. We have our board president, Susan Rassman, who is also a true rock star and has helped so much with this organization for at least the last 7 years. So thank you, Susan. Jeff Boot Barrow serves as our vice president. I know many of you know Jeff. Bessa Schweitzer as our treasurer, Rob Veman as our secretary historian, and Mike Classville as our recruitment coordinator. So thank you to all of these Missouri Stream Team volunteers who put in many hours for this organization. We also have an award that we'd like to provide to Greenway Network. And so one of the things we try to promote with Missouri Stream Teams, of course, is reporting your activities. And so we did a query of the reports for all the Stream Team associations throughout the state. And for 2021, Greenway Network out of St. Charles County is leading the way in reported volunteer hours with 1,438 volunteer hours reported. Next, I'd like to just recognize some of our financial supporters, because obviously as a nonprofit, we depend on different supporters and grants in order to operate. And so I'd like to recognize our Ozark Hellbender River champions that have donated or provided grants of $10,000 or more, which includes the Corporation for National and Community Service, the Missouri Foundation for Health, Mosaic, and the Missouri Department of Conservation. Our Niangua Darter River champions, including Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, Missouri Humanities, and the Conservation Foundation of Missouri Charitable Trust. Our Coldwater Crayfish River champions, Lotzi and Rick Holton and the Lily Christie Bush Herman Charitable Foundation, Magnificent Missouri, and Altered State Store in Columbia, Missouri. What we call our Fat Pocketbook Muscle River champions, the Conservation Federation of Missouri, David Risberg Memorial Grant, the Missouri Conservation Federation of Missouri, Kent Robinson, and Alpine Shop with their in-kind support of the Paddle Mo program. Our Largemouth Bass champions, Logboat Brewing Company, MasterCard, Mississippi River Water Trail Association, Paddle Stop New Haven, Piney River Brewing Company, Mark Zubrick, and anonymous donors. Our Freckled Crayfish River champions, Pam and Jerry Barnaby, Ed and Darlene Hahn, Austin Hill, Kathy Stubbs, Robert Veeman, Brian Waldrop, and anonymous donors. And then I'm not going to read through the donors of $100 and less, but we have those posted on our website, and we are always so appreciative of donations of any amount. So thank you to all our river champions. Also, I'd like to thank our Water Penny Club members. These are the individuals that have signed up to donate recurring donations, and they get a nice little Water Penny Club sticker. And this year, if you join the Water Penny Club in November, we're going to enter all these Water Club Penny members into a drawing for the Paw Paw Almanac book that features some of the poetry that you heard tonight. Okay, one of the last things I'll mention is that during the month of November, we do have 2 raffles going on, and I think those links are in the chat box, or they'll be getting there soon. The River Pearl raffle is one, and this is one you may notice this pearl because we raffled it a year ago, but the person that won it actually donated it back to our organization so that we can raise more money for Clean Stream. So we have the River Pearl raffle going on, and this is valued at $2,000. And next we have a 50-50 and more raffle. And so the prizes with that are 50% of the proceeds of the raffle. We have one of the weekend trips for our St. Louis-based Paddle Mo adventures, which will see Pelican Island and the confluence with the Missouri and the Mississippi next year. And we also have a lovely artwork drawing that one of our Paddle Mo paddlers, Laura Wendy, made for us. And so it's this very cute, elegant European robin drawing. So check that out. And also we have different donation opportunities to our organization and also the local stream team associations around the state. Okay, one of the last things I'll mention, and we are going to show a video, but before we show this video, I am going to invite our special guest to join us. But what I wanted to mention here is if you're looking for an environmentally friendly gift at the holidays, a Great River State license plate is a great option, and it helps support the work of the Missouri Stream Team Watershed Coalition. So with that, I'm going to stop my share and see if our guest can join us. Let's see.
I'm here.
Hello, it's Mark Van Patten. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing wonderful, and yourself?
Good,
Pardon?
good. Doing great. Yeah. Are you calling down from the Current River area?
Yes. In fact, I'm just earlier today was watching the fog come off the river this evening from the temperature change hitting our valley. Wonderful place to be. Hey, I want to say congratulations to my buddy Chris. I think that's fantastic, buddy. You did a great job with stream teams, and I know on this next part of your journey, you're going to do amazing things as well. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, Mark. That means a lot.
You betcha. Hey, I don't want to take everybody's time. I did want to just say that I'm pretty inspired by all the names I'm seeing on here of all the familiar river heroes that I've had the privilege to know over the years. And to know that after all these years, 32 years now, it's still going, it's still growing. How many volunteer programs can say that? Not many. So congratulations to all of you for keeping this thing rocking and rolling and protecting these rivers and streams. And finally, I just want to say, I wish that every one of you has a wonderful Thanksgiving and a safe and exciting holiday season. And until we see each other on the river, adios. Hey, Brian, congratulations, brother.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much.
Great. It seemed 2 years ago in 2019, a large number of the people that are on this call tonight met at Echo Bluff State Park to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Stream Team program, the 20th anniversary of Stream Teams United. And little did we know, no one knew what we were about to get into with, the next year and a half, 2 years with COVID hitting. We were all there together, huddled together in a cabin, eating chili together. It's just, it's seems like it was 10 years ago, but it was only 2. But yeah, we're keeping it going here at Stream Teams, and it's really great to see everyone join us tonight. But we appreciate all the work of all the volunteers all around the state, because we really have some awesome resources here in Missouri, and they are much better today because of Missouri Stream Teams and all of the volunteer efforts. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Susan, our president, to go ahead and play this last video. But as we leave, you can, if you want to stay on afterwards and chat, feel free to light up the chat box as much as you want. We'll keep this open for people to visit. I can enable people to talk if they want to, but I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And to all our panelists, once again, thank you for joining us and providing your time to us tonight for this event. We really appreciate it.